Talk me out of here, idiot. Madam, let me introduce myself. Gregory Stepanovich Smirnov, Field Artillery retired. I own a place over in the next county. Sorry to disturb you, but this is important.
What can I do for you?
I had the pleasure of knowing your late husband. And as it happens, he left me 2 IOUs, which come to a total of 1,200 rubles. Now, I have a mortgage payment due tomorrow, so I'm going to have to ask you, madam, to pay up, and I'm afraid I need that money today.
1,200? What did my husband owe you the money for?
I sold him some oats.
Oh, Luca, don't forget what I told you. Make sure Toby gets his extra oats. If my husband owed you the money, then, of course, I'll pay it. But you'll have to excuse me. I don't have any cash on me here today. My manager will be back from town the day after tomorrow. He'll see that you get paid, but today I'm afraid I cannot help you. It's exactly 7 months today since my husband died, and I'm in a sad mood. I'm in no condition to talk about money.
And I'm in a sad mood too, because if I don't meet my mortgage payment tomorrow, they'll seize my property and I'll lose everything.
You'll have your money the day after tomorrow.
I need the money today, not the day after tomorrow.
I have already said I cannot pay you today.
And I have already said that I can't wait until the day after tomorrow.
What can I do since I don't have the money?
That means you won't pay me.
It means I can't pay you.
Is that your final word?
That is my final word.
You made up your mind?
I've made up my mind.
Thank you very much. I'll make a note of that. Am I supposed to take all this lying down? On my way here, I met my accountant. Why are you so down in the dumps, he says. Well, excuse me, he should know. I'm desperate for money. I got up at dawn yesterday. I rode around to everybody I know who owes me money. Not one of them paid me. I ran in more circles than a hunting dog. Spent the night in some godforsaken flea pit of a hotel. Finally, I get here, 50 miles from home, expecting to be paid, and what do I get? A sad mood. What kind of mood do you think that puts me in?
I think I made myself perfectly clear. I will pay you as soon as my manager gets back from town.
I came to see you, not your manager. What the hell, excuse my language, do I want with your manager?
My dear sir, I will not have such language in my house, nor will I tolerate that tone of voice. Refuse to listen to any more of this.
Episode 3. Arrival of the Bear. Grigory Stepanovich Smirnov, landowner and retired lieutenant of artillery, enters Popova's drawing room in the middle of his insolent shouting at Luca, but changes his mood on seeing Popova. In a somewhat respectful tone, he introduces himself and conveys the urgency of his visit. I'm compelled to disturb you on a very pressing affair. Whoever he is, Popova is not excited. What do you want? She asks him impolitely to show her repulsion at his intrusive behavior. Remaining in his respectful mood, he presents his urgent requirement to collect back the amount of 1,200 rubles once he had lent to Nikolai Mikhailovich on 2 bills of exchange. In order to convince her of the compulsion to settle the debt immediately, he gives his reason in desperate terms. As I got to pay the interest on a mortgage tomorrow, I come to ask you, madam, to pay me the money today. Still stern towards Smirnov, she inquires about the reason for her husband's debt. Smirnov replies, he used to buy oats from me. Chekhov reveals here that the landowning class of his time goes to the extent of getting indebted in their struggle to show off their pride. Nikolai has got indebted in his fancy to feed his horse, not because of his love for the animal, but because of the admiration it earns for him during his rides. The horse appears here a symbol of vanity. So don't you forget, Luca, to give Toby an extra feed of oats. Popova's reminder for Luca confirms Chekhov's criticism further, while adding sarcasm to the situation of nurturing vanity amidst ruinous indebtedness. Popova's position that even after his demise, the debts of Nikolai Mikhailovich should be paid makes us sound reasonable, but the absence of ready cash to settle Smirnov's deal immediately leads to a conflict between her and the latter. Her proposition to wait for her steward to come from town the following day does not resolve the crisis Smirnov is in. Smirnov desperately needs the cash the day itself, as according to him, any delay in paying the interest on his mortgage would cause him to lose his property. They'll take my estate. Her excuse for her inability to make an immediate intervention to help him in this dire need for cash is not very pragmatic at all. Moreover, it's exactly 7 months today since the death of my husband. I am in the state of mind which absolutely prevents me from giving money matters my attention. She is too ambitious to expect the world to condone with the emotions in satisfying the conditions of monetary transactions between people and institutions. And 7 months is too long a period of grace for her to ask Smirnov to settle a debt. Smirnov's explanation to the suicidal nature of any failure in this matter is fundamentally not acceptable. In any culture, financial transactions do not accept emotional explanations, but there is room for a client to enjoy a grace from a credit firm by paying a penalty fee. Yet their inability to come to a compromise between the two leads to a heated argument. You'll have your money the day after tomorrow. I don't want the money the day after tomorrow. I want it today, Ipel continued. Popova continues to say that she cannot pay the debt the day itself, and Smirnov continues to say that he needs the money the day itself. Smirnov feels that he cannot escape from the bank, and Popova feels that she cannot escape from Smirnov. The pressure generated by their financial obligations aggravates the conflict between them. They both feel helpless for a while and come to a point of silence as they both have no way out to their crisis. Smirnov breaks the silence again, but in a confessional tone, to explain why people always complain that he is angry. He conveys that on his way he met so many of his debtors, but none of them offered to help him out in his present financial crisis. Also, he relates the poor conditions he put up with while spending the night during his journey of 70 versts from home to visit Popova. A verst equals 1.0668 kilometers. Finally, he expresses his frustration over the negative reception he had at the hands of Popova. How shouldn't I get angry? He makes a rhetorical question, concluding his protest against the disappointment with her. I thought I distinctly said my steward will pay you when he returns from town, as if to show that she is not moved by the whole harangue of his complaint. Popova still remains in an arrogant stand about the issue, trying to charge him of incomprehension of her language. Smirnov loses his temper over the type of insensitivity he notices on her part. What the devil, excuse my saying so, have I to do with your steward? Despite his effort to sound polite, he uses hard language to react to her non-committal attitude towards his necessity. Excuse me, sir. I am not accustomed to listen to such expressions or to such a tone of voice. All of a sudden, the quality of Smirnov's language and the tone of his voice gather prominence over the meanings he conveys. Popova disregards her commitment to satisfy her obligation to her late husband's creditor. I want to hear no more, she says abruptly to repel Smirnov, and she herself leaves the stage in a hurry.